back to Unleashing. I'm your host, Jared Beeler. I have wanted to talk on this topic for a couple weeks, but the last video I did on Terminators exposing Kanye West and a few of the other things that hopefully people already realized, but wanted to give my take on it and show that there was no power or Holy Spirit behind it and why the whole thing was a total fraud. I see some other people backtracking a little bit, and that's good. Hopefully more people catch on and realize that you don't just jump into bed when somebody says, hey, I'm a Christian now, especially nowadays, especially in this hour. But one of the big things that I really wanted to talk on was something that happened to me a couple weeks ago when I went up to Sandpoint. Now, you guys have known that for a few months now, towards the beginning or the end of fall, I already said that I don't think that the Rapture is going to be taking place in the fall. And there, of course, there's people that were hoping that it would. And of course, I don't have a problem because I'd love for it to take place at that time. But for the first time ever since 2014, when I had my vision, and I've told you guys the vision over and over again so many times, you guys know exactly what takes place. As I'm looking out that window, all right, I'm not in a good mood. I look across, I see some UFOs, or a UFO coming down over the lake. It's huge, about a mile wide. Right around the same time, I get blasted up. I see about 8 other people as I go up over the lake, and I look down on the bridge, and I see that my stepfather's in a traffic jam on the bridge, or some sort of traffic backed up. I'm told that I'll never have to worry about a stupid job again, and I'll never have to worry about financial issues ever again as I'm going up. As the load is getting lighter off my shoulders, I'm flying faster, and the joy is immense. It's absolutely the most incredible thing I've ever seen. I look across the lake and up north, I see about 8 people going up in the distance. All right, and then it's over with. Since that time, it has progressively been coming forward more and more and more. I've told you guys more secret stuff. I told you that the look on my stepfather's face when I zoom in with eagle vision is he knows the vision. Somewhere along the lines, I tell him in mid-summer of 2017, I ended up telling him everything so he knows the vision. That part has come true, along with me moving up to Idaho and everything else. Well, a couple weeks ago, more of the vision has come true. It's playing out like it's supposed to. And when is it lining up? Exactly the same time we've been talking about, and then I've been kind of pointing towards it's spring. Why did I say spring? Is because this year, for the first time, I kind of mapped out the clouds exactly like the vision, something I never had the chance to do with. So every couple of weeks when I was driving up there, I was paying attention and looking and watching formations this whole year. And those clouds are distinctly a spring, early summertime cloud when there's a lot of moisture in the cloud and the sun burns off all the fuzzy stuff on the outside. So there's a distinct line from puffy white cloud to blue sky, and that's how it was. And coincidentally, the time that it happened was on Pentecost, June 9th of this year. I waited the rest of the year to see if there was other times in the year, maybe fall, when that would happen, and it hasn't, okay? So I've really been like, I think it was a hint. Another thing that happened to me when I was driving up is I was told the soon the 13th of September. And the last time that I was told any proximity of anything like that was it was around the 23rd or the end of August 2017. I instantly thought that it was half the time. While I was driving, and I thought about it again, and when you split half that time, it comes out to be about a year and a week or so. And if you take that time from around September 13th, when I was told almost time this year, and I just figured this out the other day, it comes out to be around right when Feast of Trumpets starts of 2020, which would be 2021 start time for Israel, and of course the last backup to the wall time that we have, if this is going to fall within an 80-year period from 70 years by regular generation, 80 years by strength, and that would be next fall. And I don't think that the rapture happens that late in the year. After what I've seen, I think this would be a hint to the start of the tribulation, which would line up perfectly with it. But looking at springtime for a rapture because of some of the stuff I've seen. Could it happen at any time? Yeah, sure. But looking at what I've seen so far and it playing out perfectly, I definitely give it a lot of credit. So a couple weeks ago, I went up to Sandpoint, and there's a project that's been taking place. They started it back in 2017. I didn't even know about it. I just heard about it earlier this year, about them wanting to build dual bridge train track bridges over Lake Pend Oreille. There's currently right now, and has been for years, a single bridge that goes along, not parallel, but almost in a triangle as it merges into Sandpoint. And there's dual tracks before and on the other side, but it causes backed up train traffic, and they want to change this around from a single track into a dual track so they can have trains running both ways, and it'll speed up the whole thing. There's some resistance against it, and there's been a lot of permits being put in, but it looks like it's a go for launch. Well, here's something very important. There's a lot of details that I have in that vision of going up. All right. I've thought before that I didn't see I didn't see the trees when I was looking at the UFO. Now, from that window, right now, currently around the lake, there are some trees, but in the distance, over by the train tracks, there's a group of trees as well. I don't remember looking and seeing them that much, and that is why I thought, well, maybe it's a fall time and the leaves are off the trees. Problem is in the vision the lake is full, and this happens during a summertime fill up in April and stuff like that, and then it starts to fill up until it gets to its capacity, and then they lower it back down in the fall time. And by the time that the leaves would be falling off, the lake or whatever would be empty. So that doesn't line up with it. Another thing that points towards spring. But anyways, I want to do this dual track on this railroad thing, and it's a go for launch. And when I was up there, I noticed they're already doing the groundwork for it right along the railroad tracks. And I was talking with my aunt and uncle, and I asked, so what do you think, how long do you think it'll take? And they don't think it'll take very long at all. Probably by this summer they'll have that thing up and running, and they'll have it built pretty fast. They got to do a couple other bridges on the inside of town. Well, one of the things I noticed is the only access to that point is at the end of the bridge going into town, where they'll be able to bring equipment in and out. And that's going to cause a problem. They're going to need to have flaggers there to bring the equipment and stuff in and out. And what is this going to cause? It's going to cause backed up traffic. All right, just like in my vision, when the traffic was backed up across the bridge, there's been multiple theories that I've thrown out of what time it would be, why the traffic would be backed up across the bridge like that. But if they're moving equipment in and out of there, they have flaggers or a light or anything like that, traffic could be backed up for miles. And this lines up perfectly because they're already starting to work on it now. And if it's going to start taking place in spring with the groundwork and them wanting to do it and then finishing it up through the summer, a couple important things here. Not only do we get the traffic jam from the vision, but in the vision, I'm pretty sure that I would have noticed two dual train tracks over the water. Now, I wasn't looking at direction. It's not far from the bridge, but I zoned in and I noticed my stepfather on the bridge, along with other people going up and all the other things. I think that I would have noticed that detail. It's never been in detail. It's never been anything that I've mentioned before, right? So could it possibly be? Could time drag on? Yeah, sure, I suppose. But as of what I know right now, I say no. I say no, there isn't two railroad tracks, all right? So looking at it that way, with the timeline that we've already had out months before I even knew this, that I'm looking at springtime, and this being an event that's going to be taking place, like starting in spring, and they're already doing the groundwork now, we have our traffic backup situation. Not only that, but before the bridge is actually built through the summer, the rapture happens. The reason why is because I didn't see dual bridges, and it would have been built by that time if it extends any longer. If I was looking right and I didn't know, but I didn't notice it. I didn't notice it at all. Another thing that's important is the trees that I don't know if I've mentioned with you guys before, but I've definitely talked about it with my family before, because I've talked about it being in fall time, maybe because I didn't see any leaves on the trees, or I didn't notice as many or something like that. There was something there that was missing. Well, they have to take out that whole line of trees where the dual track's being built, and there's a group of trees right there, and that'll be one of the first things they have to take out, so that lines up with it too. And I thought this was very interesting. It's just another thing that's falling into the proximity of this, and of course there's a number of things that are falling in with this, the whole breakdown of everything taking place. The charade with the impeachment nonsense, the wasting of time with that, how things keep moving forward. It's all fitting into the whole picture perfectly. And it didn't surprise me at all to see this. And like, of course, they're going to have a huge construction project here. And of course, it's going to have traffic backed up for miles. I mean, it's only what I would expect at this time. The next thing I expect is get a phone call from my stepfather. Be like, hey, I'm coming up in spring. And then the groundbreaking news from the news channel that we might possibly have a worldwide alien encounter by springtime too. I mean, none of it would surprise me at all, because that's exactly how it's starting to look right now. It's crazy. But anyways, I wanted to share that. I thought it was interesting, and kind of a little fast detail, but very encouraging because it's pointing in the right direction. More of the vision is falling into place. I've never seen anything quite like it, but it's definitely in line with everything that I know with God, how he speaks, the prophecies that he said in the past, in the Bible. It's like an endless well. Once it's been tapped and it starts to gush out, it never stops flowing. The prophecies never stop flowing from the things that he's showing me, how they open up more doors, the vision itself, how it just keeps unfolding, the prophecy about me before I was born, every single thing that he's ever said, it just keeps unfolding more and more. It's never ending. and it's so unique, and it's only something that can be done with God. But it's just incredible to see this vision keep unfolding. Which, of course, at the time that I had it that morning, I thought it was a dream. Only for a month later to find myself moving to Idaho, and of course, this vision is on my mind, and then to end up there and then be in the vicinity of it, and then find myself driving back and forth, and all of it starting to take place, and now every single almost detail, it's getting down to the wire, but it's getting very close to the end, and like I say, the lineup with it being in spring next year, man, it's making it look really really good, and as of right now, I'm pretty stoked. I think that this might be when it is. Is YouTube and stuff going to be up by then? Uh, you know. Possibly not. And the way things are looking, they're really trying to crack down on media and information and stuff like that. Most people aren't smart enough to know what to watch anyways. But those that do, there's certain channels and things that they like to watch. And the government, YouTube, the Illuminati, the deep state, they all know which ones are the real ones and which ones are the fake ones. And you can tell with the amount of looks and stuff like that. I mean, it just it attracts. They leave the ones up and they promote the ones that are false, and they know between it better than most Christians do. So there's probably going to come a time here very shortly when this is going to crash down, and you're going to be on your own, which I've warned about the whole time. That's why you have that personal relationship with God, and you're reading the Bible and stuff like that. When it goes down, you haven't lost anything. You still have all the information held on to. If you've saved videos from different YouTubers or other things like that from information sources, you have that stuff still, and it's with you, and you continue to go on, and you don't have to worry about it going down, but it very well soon could go down, especially with the stuff they're trying to push. And I know some stuff's coming out December 10th or whatever, and they're just trying to put more chains and restraints on people that are speaking the truth, using stupid excuses and loopholes and things like that. But we all knew it was coming anyway, so what it is to me is just another sign that we're getting this close to the end. They don't want to have this kind of information as soon as the tribulation starts. So if they're about to take it down now, it's just only more proof that, hey, this sucker's about to go down. It really is going to be within the next year, and they're going to implement the whole plan from rounding up YouTubers and starting the tribulation and releasing the toxins and all kinds of bad vaccines and stuff like that fall within the four horsemen of the apocalypse. So just more proof that it's going to happen. Very exciting stuff, though. And I told my aunt and uncle to keep me updated on how the project and stuff's going on up there. But right now, the groundwork for it is right next to the end of the bridge, and it's right when you get into town. And it's definitely going to cause some traffic jams when they start getting serious with it. Very exciting, and it's really cool to see the whole thing playing out the way that it has been. I get really excited about the whole thing. But in this section of this video, you got to keep warning people the same stuff, all right? There are 90% of you, I'd say 96% of you that aren't ready at all. The reason I use 96% because that leaves 4%, which equates to the number that I saw going up. 8 people out of the world's population, if you look across a straight number, okay, about 32 million, all right? And I've even pushed it into the videos, people are just willingly ignorant. You can't tell the difference. You think that you know better, and you've never even read the Bible, and you think that you can put together a plan of how the whole thing rolls out. And it's like, if you haven't even went through some of the basic credentials to do it, you're in no shape to be making your own ideas. And I see it all the time. I really do. Okay, there's witches, there's warlocks, there's people like this watching the channel. There's people that think they're one of 144,000. There's people that think they're one of the 2 witnesses. All right, you're taking this information, not even questioning it at all, looking from a third-person perspective at yourself, on your life, wondering why, hey, you're never given any information from God, yet you're listening to somebody that has and does and is proving it time and time again. And you're taking it and making your own ideas, and you're thinking when the rapture happens that you're going to be excited because you're going to, because you've bundled yourself in this package like God doesn't know. And what you've essentially done is created your own religion. Are Mormons going up? Are Jehovah's Witnesses going up? Are false religions and Nazis going up? Are white supremacists going up, all right, leaving the very fundamentals of Christianity, not to hate a brother or somebody, especially for their color, or black supremacists going up, all right, or post-tribulationists going up, that don't want to have anything to do with God, they think they have to go through the tribulation because they've never even experienced it by walking with God in the first place. Are these people going out? What about once saved, always saved? They're still living like sin, all right? I told you, nothing has ever changed that. There's never been, hey, Jared, you've done a good job. Let me show you the vision re-upped now from what you've done. Look, there's more than 8 people going up. Now there's hundreds going up. Nothing has ever changed that whole fact. It's still going to be exactly the same, shamefully. And why am I even telling you this right now? I have no idea. That hopefully that you hear this, you remember this, and it startles you enough in the tribulation when you get left behind to pull out of these false teachers, false belief in people that you shouldn't be having anyways. You should be talking with God, repenting of your sins, walking with Him. When you mess up, you ask for forgiveness. Small sins, it's a daily thing that we'll always have to deal with, but your major ones, you're always working on chopping them off. You should be having a list, if you've been a Christian for a while, on things that you used to be a part of that you're not anymore. You've pushed them away. If you're still in them and you can't tell the difference between you during the weekday and your Christian walk, there's a serious problem here, especially if there's no conviction. And that just shows you that you don't have that walk. If you haven't been disciplined by God when you mess up about stuff like that, then you're not in the fold. Because He disciplines those that He loves. He is a father, and that's exactly what He does. All right? I mean, I see one thing after another. If you guys are leaving me messages and stuff like that saying that you think I'm one of the 144,000 after I have done video and video and video after speaking, no, I am not. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with us. You're getting swindled. You're getting tricked into nonsense. You're believing falsities, all right? And how would you be believing these falsities anyways? Because you have problems in other areas that you need to take. It's the threads of the seed, exactly like I told you. This isn't just to watch out for other people. This is to be able to judge yourself, give yourself a third-person perspective. Hey, I'm wrong in this area and I need to fix it up, right? That's what we do. We're constantly evaluating where we're at, cleaning the act up. We do that all the time on a constant walking relationship that we have with God. All right, as we're drawing near, always trying to improve on different things and stuff like that, and to the final day. All right, saved by grace, obviously, but we're always working and heading towards it. Just like James speaks of, right? It's our evidence. It's the very proof that we are saved. That we're always trying to be better. We're pushing away more sin, and these are different things that we do, including works and helping others and stuff like that. And it's the evidence that we're different. We can't even help ourselves. If you're walking with God, you're going to do godly things. It's just the way that it is. But if you're not, then it's a huge red flag and you should be very cautious. And if you start getting into different doctrines that are teaching you things that you're one of the 2 witnesses or you're one of the 144,000, you've got an issue somewhere else because you shouldn't even fall for it. I knew the scriptures before I even read the Bible. I knew that it was right to defend people, to walk with God. No matter what the churches were saying about meekness and how we should never fight, I knew that it was right to fight for people. Only to find out later in the Bible, the word prawn is the definition in the Aramaic Hebrew, not meek, not a weakling, of a war horse, restrained for battle, kept at bay for its master, but definitely strong. And it changes up the whole idea of the meek inheriting the world, all right? There's nothing weak about them at all right? And I knew this already. It was distilled in me. And just like the other things are that you find in the Bible, and it turns out to be correct. So if you're walking with God, I question how people don't know this automatically. It should already be in your heart. And that raises red flags on the whole thing. But like I say, I'd say about maybe 4% of you are even right and ready to go. The rest of you are just faking it, thinking that you're going to make it. You don't fake Christianity. It's a real deal. It's a real walk. And you know the scripture. It doesn't happen overnight, even if I'm telling you things. You read into it. I just heard this yesterday, and it's so true. You read into it. You're constantly working on it. It takes time and effort. You're trying to make yourself better and learn it so that you know it, so that you can help others and things like that. And if you're not doing it, if you're thinking you're going to wait to the last second in the last week and then somehow read it, no, the channels are going to go down. You're going to be looking for somebody to lead you, and the only ones that are going to be up to help you are going to be the false teachers. You're totally screwed, all right? You absolutely have to take it seriously, and you're going to be caught in your own deceitment by thinking you could wait or trick God and wait till the last second and live for Him by knowing when the rapture is going to happen or have an idea. And it's not going to work that way. You need to be living for Him the whole time. So It's just this week's warning that I keep giving to people, and I mean nobody's listening. It seems like nobody is listening. You still think you're one of the 144,000. You're still listening to Tim Henderson. You can do anything you want. All right. Yeah, there's people out there that might believe that, and they actually are repenting themselves, but because they love their children or something like that, they want to say, "Hey, once saved, always saved," because they don't want to think of the possibility since they're son or daughter have walked away. Hey, yeah, they still definitely might be saved people, all right? But what about the people that listen to that? You have just led them astray, and you have to have that on your conscience forever, all right? So, I mean, you're only screwing yourself up, and that's if you don't get punished for it. Time and time again, this is bringing up another interesting matter that I've seen recently. I just heard a story in Africa recently, and I was like in Nigeria or something like that, and it was a group of Christians, and Boko Haram or whatever, a terrorist group, they went in there and they wanted him to deny Jesus Christ, and they didn't do it. And because they didn't, they were going to kill him. So they lined up their 4 preachers first, and they shot him dead right there. And they started to line up the rest of the groups, the Christians, to kill them, and angels showed up. And the children, a couple of the children could see it, and they started torturing and made them drop their guns, the terrorists, and run for their lives, and it saved all of them. All right, this is a very interesting topic. They were saved. Why weren't the 4 preachers at the top saved? And I see this time and time again with Chuck Missler. We're right at the end. God could have totally kept him alive. And some of the other ones that are going down right now at the end, that are bigwigs, that have been great teachers and stuff like that. Was there something that they were doing and teaching that could possibly say, no, you made it to heaven, but just like Moses, you don't get to see the promised land, all right? Moses is in heaven. He led him. He did great things. He was a leader. But as a leader, you have more responsibility. James warns about it. It's like, you better know what you're doing. You don't just go pick up a pantsuit and make a video in your car, all right, to make money monetization-wise as an extra thing because it didn't work out for you as a physical fitness trainer, all right? And start talking about God, or you're saying once saved, always saved, doing a little bit of parodying, faking it until you make it. To lead others astray, you may very well reap deadly consequences, okay? And even those preachers over there might be in heaven, of course. There's a very chance that the reason they weren't saved is because of that responsibility. When you wear the mantle of a leader that is teaching and leading others, you take on a double portion of, if you're not doing it right, of getting worse punishment. And that's not something I want to have anything to do with. And that's why I have to do the hard talk, even when it's not fun. I have to tell you the truth. I have no agenda but 100% truth. If I'm about to talk about something and God says no, then I don't talk about it. If I'm about to do something He says no, I'm like, oh, sorry about that. I won't have anything to do with that. If it's right, then I go for it. But I always am listening to Him, whatever it is. And no agenda whatsoever. 100% truth. That's always been my mission, to know what the truth is. And then if I did, I can share it with people. No agenda. And so many people out there have an agenda where they want to trick somebody. They want to have them come over to this, or they want them to be looked at like some great one, or they want to do this or make up a little bit of a dream that they had, or do something like that where if they just kind of move it a little bit, hey, maybe I can make some money off this. God, nobody's going to know. God knows. All right. And if you're in the position of the leader where you're tricking somebody, you may very well find yourself in a double portion of punishment where somebody who didn't know anything, you're under ignorance. I'm going to take you in the rapture. You were teaching people that led them astray. You can stay behind and learn your valuable lesson. Yeah, sure, you may make it when you repent of it and you go in the tribulation and you're going to die and you can make it to heaven, sure. But you don't get to see the promised land just like Moses, all right? This is a very possibility, and I've been thinking about it lately, especially with when I see leaders and I hear stories like that. It's like, no, all those people got saved. God could have easily saved those 4 preachers. Why didn't He? All right, and it's something that I've noticed, and it's a little theory that I have. All right, and I think there might be something to it. It's no joke. It really isn't. All right, and that's where they're teaching people falsities. All right, pay very close attention. Time's wrapping up. Like I say, the videos might not even last that long, so you need to have that personal relationship, and you need to keep growing it, walking with God. But it's very exciting because the whole thing's unfolding exactly like it looked like it was supposed to, and it keeps happening more and more and more. And the vision's unfolding. The vision's unfolding as well, and it's amazing. It's really amazing to see. But Watch out for false teachers. And if you are into some crap, give it up. All right? No manifestations, no witchcraft, none of that stuff. No Gospels of Thomas, no crazy stuff where you're helping yourself with the prosperity in this life that doesn't have to do with God. Or naming it and claiming it, all right? If it's not in God's will, then you're doing something that's wrong, all right? That is what the Bible is speaking of when it says, whatever you pray on or ask for. No, if it's in God's will, he will answer that. If it's like, God, I want some money, I'm giving the whole thing to charity, but these people need the houses built or something like that, you very, very, very well get it, all right? But if you're doing it for yourself or personal reasons, you're not going to have anything, all right? And if you are and you're using other tricks, you're messing around with dangerous stuff, and it could cost you big time. Don't mess around with it. I mean, I can only give so many warnings. Seriously, I saw 8 people going up, and nothing has changed in that. Nothing yet has changed in that. It's still continuing the same way, and the vision's literally unfolding right before us, all right? Pay attention. Heed my warning. And for those that are doing the right thing, you 4%, you few that are doing the right thing, keep looking up because time's getting close and it's very exciting. We're about to get out of here. God bless. I'll catch you next time on Unleashing. Bye.